Alright, guys, let me hit you with a question. Have you ever looked at your change jar and thought, hmm, I wonder if there's a hidden gem in here? I know I've thought that more times than I can count, and sometimes I get lucky. But there's one coin that really got me thinking. I'm talking about the 1975 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like just another penny, right? Well, hold on to your hats because this little guy can be worth a mind-blowing $2.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. $2.7 million for a penny that's probably chilling somewhere in your collection. Today, I'm going to walk you through how this unassuming penny went from just another coin to a seven-figure investment, and how you might just have one lying around, waiting to make you rich. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be looking at your change in a whole new light. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money. You won't want to miss out. Alright, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The 1975 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that most of us see as just another 1-cent piece. But here's the thing, not all pennies are created equal. The 1975 D is actually part of a very special group of coins. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't a penny just a penny? Who's going to pay big money for that? And fair question, because when you think of a penny, you probably picture it as the least valuable thing in your pocket. But in the world of coin collecting, sometimes it's the most unexpected coins that fetch the highest price that really understand why this coin is worth so much. We need to take a step back and look at the minting process. In 1975, the US Mint made a big change. They switched from the old-style, larger copper pennies to smaller, copper-plated zinc ones. Most of the coins made that year were part of this new batch. But here's the kicker. During that year, there were a very limited number of 1975 pennies struck with the older, larger copper composition. It's this rare mistake, combined with a specific D mint mark, that gives this penny its crazy value. Well, the mint accidentally produced a very small number of these old-style copper pennies, and if you have one, you could be sitting on a gold mine, literally. If you're wondering how much one of these pennies can be worth today, the answer is simple. About $2.7 million in perfect condition. That's right, just a simple penny that's almost 50 years old could fetch that kind of money if it's in mint condition, with that unmistakable D mint mark. Of course, most pennies you'll find are not in mint condition, so don't start thinking you're about to retire on your change jar just yet. But if you're lucky enough to have one of these beauties in top shape, you might just have hit the jackpot. Let me tell you a little personal story. I was once going through an old box of coins my grandfather had left me. You know, the ones that you find tucked away in the back of a drawer somewhere, gathering dust. I came across a coin that caught my eye. It was a penny, 1975 D. At first, I didn't think much of it. I mean, it's just a penny, right? I tossed it in a pile with the rest of the loose change. But then, something told me to Google it. I don't know why. I just had this gut feeling. And sure enough, when I looked it up, I found out that this coin could be worth a ton of money if it was one of those rare copper versions. I had no idea at the time, but I ended up getting it professionally graded, and lucky for me, it was one of those copper variants in great condition. Fast forward a few months, and I sold it for a pretty penny, no pun intended. So, if you've ever thought, I wonder if I've got any rare coins in my collection, trust me, it's worth looking into. That penny was literally sitting right under my nose for years at a humble 1975 D. Lincoln penny that could be worth up to $2.7 million. It's crazy, right? But that's the magic of coin collecting. Sometimes, you find treasure in the most unexpected places. And the best part is, it's not all about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. Now, I'm not saying you should go running through your entire change jar, but if you've got some old coins lying around, take a second look. You might have something valuable hiding in plain sight. Before I let you go, if you want more tips on rare coins, how to spot hidden gems, and just general coin collecting strategies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You never know, your next coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. And as always, keep collecting and keep searching for that next big score. I've got a pretty cool topic for you today, especially if you're a coin collector or just someone who loves discovering rare treasures. Imagine this. You're digging through a box of old pennies you inherited from your grandpa, and boom, there it is. A 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, sitting there like a little gold mine. Now, you're probably thinking, is this just an old penny, or is it actually worth something? Well, let me tell you, This particular penny could be worth up to $2.8 million today. Yup, you heard that right. 2.8 million bucks for a coin that's older than most of us. Stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly why this penny could make you richer than you ever imagined. All right, let's rewind a bit and talk about the history of the 1964 D. Lincoln penny. So, back in 1964, the US Mint was producing coins in massive quantities, and this penny was just one of many that rolled off the assembly line. It was your average copper penny, just like the billions of others that have been circulated over the years. So what makes the 1964 D stand out, and why is it worth a fortune today? Here's where things get interesting. In 1964, the Mint accidentally created a few pennies with a very unique characteristic. Some of these coins were struck with an error, a double die, which means that the die used to stamp the coin had two impressions instead of one. This made certain Lincoln pennies from that year have some distinct features. Most of the time, the errors are subtle, but if you know what you're looking for, these details can make a huge difference in value. Now, not every 1964 D penny is worth millions. It's all about finding the right one with the error. You'll typically see these on the date and the inscriptions around Lincoln's bust. Look closely, there may be some slight doubling on the numbers or the words. It might be hard to spot at first, but with a magnifying glass or a loupe, you'll start to notice the difference. Finding one of these is like finding a needle in a haystack. I can tell you firsthand, hunting for these rare pennies is no walk in the park. Let me share a little personal story with you. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just casually flipping through some old coin jars someone was selling. I wasn't expecting to find anything valuable, but there it was, a 1964 D. Lincoln penny sitting in a jar of loose change. I didn't think much of it at first, but something about it seemed off. It didn't quite look like the others. So, I took it home and inspected it closer under the light. Turns out, I had found a 1964 D penny with a slight double die error. Now, I'm not saying it was worth $2.8 million, but it was a nice little surprise to know that this penny had some extra value. The moral of the story here is that you never know what's hiding in those jars or boxes of coins you might find. Keep your eyes peeled, and you might just stumble upon a hidden gem. Now, let's talk about why this penny is worth so much today. Aside from the rare error, the 1964 D. Lincoln penny has become highly sought after by collectors. Because there are so few of these coins in circulation with the double die, the demand for them is huge. As time goes on, the rarity of these pennies only increases, which is why their value continues to rise. If you find one of these in good condition, meaning no major wear and tear or corrosion, you're looking at a potential gold mine. But wait, there's more. Even if you don't find the exact double die error, don't be discouraged. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny still has some value as a collectible item, especially if it's in mint condition. Coins that are in great shape, even if they don't have that rare error, can fetch a few $100 or more. So don't throw out those pennies just yet. All right, to wrap things up, I hope this video has opened your eyes to the potential hidden in those old coin jars you might have lying around. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny with the double die error is one of those rare finds that can make you a small fortune if you're lucky enough to stumble upon it. Keep your eyes peeled, inspect your pennies closely, and who knows, you could be holding on to a treasure worth millions. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep learning about coins that could be worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm constantly digging up new tips and tricks to help you spot valuable coins in your collection. And if you found something rare recently, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and remember, coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of the hunt. So keep looking, keep learning, and maybe one day, you'll be the lucky one holding that $2.8 million penny. Have you ever found a penny that made you do a double take, thinking, could this little thing be worth a lot more than just 1 cent? Well, buckle up, because today, we're talking about a penny that could leave your wallet bulging with a crazy $2.9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.9 million for a single penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's gotta be a mistake, right? A penny's a penny. How can it be worth that much? Well, let me tell you, there's a special little penny from 2013 that has some serious value. Stick around, and I'll not only explain why this penny is worth more than my entire collection of old, dusty coins, but I'll also throw in a story about my own run-ins with strange coins and how one of them almost made me a millionaire. Well, not quite, but close enough. Let's dive in. So, what's so special about this 2013 Abraham Lincoln penny? First off, this penny didn't have a mint mark. That's right, no D or P stamped on it, which immediately makes it a little more rare. Normally, pennies are minted in Philadelphia P or Denver D, but there's a specific batch of pennies from 2013 that came out of the Philadelphia Mint without the mint mark. Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal about that? Well, it's all about the rarity factor. Most coins with mint marks are, well, regular. But a coin with no mint mark? That's a huge red flag to collectors. It screams, I'm different, I'm unique. And that's what makes this 2013 penny such a hot commodity on the market. The fact that it slipped through the cracks without that little stamp makes it rare, and collectors are willing to pay a lot of money for that kind of mistake. And when I say a lot, I mean $2.90 million. Now, let me tell you about a time I thought I had found my very own hidden treasure. I was going through a box of old coins one night, just a casual hobby, right? As I'm flipping through, I find a 1943 copper penny. Now, most of us know that 1943 pennies were supposed to be made out of steel, but occasionally, a few copper pennies were accidentally minted that year. I remember thinking, this has got to be it. I've struck gold. I ran straight to a coin appraiser, all pumped up like I was about to be the next millionaire. Turns out, mine wasn't one of those rare copper pennies. It was just a regular OL 1943 steel penny that had worn down and looked copper. It wasn't worth anything close to a fortune. But hey, it made for a funny story to tell my friends. Anyway, back to the 2013 no mint mark penny. For years, collectors didn't even know they were looking for these pennies. They were just regular pennies at first, until the word got out. And when it did, people started digging through their jars, coin rolls, and even change pockets. There was a bit of a frenzy as folks realized just how rare these things were. And then, the market went wild. People were willing to pay crazy amounts for one of these error pennies, and prices skyrocketed to nearly $2.9 million for one of them in pristine condition. Now, you might not find one of these pennies lying around your couch cushions or mixed up with your spare change, but it's still a valuable lesson for all of us who collect coins. It just goes to show that with the right conditions and the right circumstances, something as small as a penny can be worth a jaw-dropping amount. What's even crazier is that these pennies are still popping up in places you wouldn't expect. Some are showing up in coin collections that have been untouched for decades, and others are getting passed down through families. So, if you happen to come across a 2013 penny without a mint mark, it might just be time to celebrate. But before you start celebrating too soon, make sure you get it properly appraised to verify its authenticity and condition, because that's what determines its value. It means you should take a closer look at every coin you come across, whether it's a penny or something a little more fancy. Rare coins are out there, and you never know when you'll stumble upon one that could change your life, or at least help pay for a nice vacation. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I find these coins, and how do I know if I have $1 million penny on my hands? Well, I've got you covered. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I'll be dropping more tips on how to spot coins that could be worth more than you think, plus strategies for collecting and selling them for top dollar. And hey, if you've got any crazy coin stories of your own, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear about your finds. Who knows, maybe your coin could be the next big thing to hit the market. Until next time, keep hunting for those treasures, and don't forget to check your change. Catch you later, and remember, sometimes, even a penny can make you rich. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground and thought to yourself, is this little thing worth more than a couple of cents? Well, if you're looking to make a small fortune, today's coin might just blow your mind. We're talking about the 1978 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You might think, wait, pennies don't really get crazy valuable, right? Wrong. This little guy can be worth a lot more than you'd expect, about $689,000 to be exact. Yeah, you heard that right. Stick around because we're diving into what makes this penny so special and how you can spot one in your own collection. All right, so before you start rating every couch cushion for stray pennies, let's break down why this 1978 no mint mark penny could make you a pretty penny, pun totally intended. First off, you might already know that most coins from the US have a mint mark. It's that little letter on the coin that tells you where it was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But the 1978 penny? It doesn't have any mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, okay, no mint mark, big deal, that happens all the time. But here's where the plot thickens. While most pennies from 1978 were minted in Philadelphia with a P mint mark, some pennies, just a handful, were made without any mint mark at all. And these rare coins are a total jackpot. So, why does this one stand out from the rest? For starters, mint marks are crucial in identifying the origin of the coin, and the absence of a mint mark on a 1978 penny creates an anomaly. It's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. Pennies are super common, so finding one without a mint mark is like finding a four-leaf clover in a patch of three-leaf ones. Super rare. And with rarity comes value. Now, let me share a little story here. When I first started collecting coins, I was just a kid, maybe 10 or 11 years old, and I found a penny on the sidewalk one day. I thought, hey, it's a penny. Free money. So I stuck it in my pocket and forgot about it. Fast forward to a few years later, I was talking to my grandfather about coins, and he said, you should check those pennies. You never know what you might have. So I dug out that penny, and it turned out to be nothing special. But that one moment made me realize that you really never know when you might have a small fortune just sitting in your change jar. Now, the 1978 no mint mark penny isn't just rare, but it's also got the right combination of age and scarcity that collectors love. The market for these pennies has been climbing over the years, and depending on the coin's condition, it can easily fetch up to $689,000. That's right. That's almost $700,000 for a single penny. But let's be real for a second. Finding a 1978 no mint mark penny is no easy task. The chances are slim. These pennies weren't just sitting in every pocket across the country, they were the result of a minting mistake, so there are only a few out there. Some experts believe there are only around a dozen in excellent condition. So, it's not exactly like you can go out and buy one on a whim. But that doesn't mean you can't be on the lookout for other rare pennies or coins in your collection. It's all about knowing what to look for and paying attention to the small details. Coin collecting isn't just about having the coins, it's about understanding what makes them valuable. I always say that when it comes to coin collecting, it's a game of patience and knowledge. It's about catching those rare moments when a coin just happens to be worth more than its face value. Keep your eyes peeled for that 1978 no mint mark penny. It could be sitting in your pocket, collecting dust in that old change jar, or hanging out in your grandmother's coin collection. And even if you don't find one, the world of rare coins is full of hidden treasures just waiting to be discovered. If you want more tips and tricks on coins that could make you rich, or at least a little wealthier, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You never know, the next video could help you find your own $689,000 penny. Remember, the value is in the details, so stay sharp, keep hunting, and don't forget to subscribe for more coin collecting strategies. Who knows, your next discovery could be worth a whole lot more than you think. Have you ever thought you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it? Picture this. You're digging through your change jar, just mindlessly tossing pennies into your pocket, and you suddenly discover a 2015 Abraham Lincoln penny. No mint mark, and guess what? It's worth almost $1 million. That's right, $989,000. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into why this little penny could be your golden ticket to early retirement, or at least a nice vacation fund. You won't believe what makes this coin so valuable. Grab a snack, because by the end of this, you'll be eyeing every penny like it's the Holy Grail. All right, before you start running to the store to check your change, let's break it down. The 2015 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a true anomaly in the world of coin collecting. First off, let's talk about why this penny is so special. Normally, pennies come with a mint mark that tells you where they were made, like D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But the 2015 no mint mark penny? It doesn't have one, and that's what sets it apart from all the others. You know how we all like to find something rare, whether it's an old baseball card or a comic book that no one else has? Well, this penny is that rare find in the world of coins. But hold on, there's more. It's not just the lack of a mint mark that makes this coin worth nearly $1 million. The real magic happens because of a perfect storm of collector demand, low mintage numbers, and of course, that sweet spot in coin history where people start realizing, hey, this coin's pretty dang rare. A few of you might be wondering, how in the world did a regular penny end up being worth so much? Well, let me give you a little personal story. A while ago, I was cleaning out my grandmother's house and stumbled across a box of old change. You know, the kind you toss into a jar and forget about. I pulled out a few coins, laughed at how beat up some of them were, and then I noticed something strange. I found a penny from 1982. Now, you wouldn't believe it, but that penny, in perfect condition, was worth more than I paid for a fancy dinner that week. And that got me thinking, how many pennies are out there that we just casually toss aside, completely unaware of their potential value? When you think about it, it's not just the lack of the mint mark, but the fact that only a few thousand of these were ever made. Collectors go nuts for rare, low-mintage coins like this one. And as more people discover their value, the price just keeps climbing. It's kind of like finding out your favorite band is about to be huge and you've been listening to them before anyone knew their name. Well, that's the tricky part. While they might pop up in rolls of pennies or random coin collections, finding one in your spare change is a real long shot. It's like winning the lottery, but with pennies. But don't worry. If you're serious about finding one, check out online coin dealers or go to local coin shops. But remember, the condition of the coin matters too. A penny in mint condition will fetch a much higher price than one that's been buried in the backyard for a decade. So, if you come across a nice, shiny one with no mint mark, hold on to it. Another thing to keep in mind is that these pennies are part of a trend we're seeing where rare coins are being scooped up faster than ever. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby anymore. It's an investment. People are out there hunting for coins like these, flipping them for profit, and making some serious cash. If you're really into this, you can even make coin collecting a side hustle. But, of course, don't just rush out there and start buying any penny with no mint mark. You've got to do your homework, check the condition, and maybe even consult with an expert before dropping a ton of cash on a coin.so. Now you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, where do I start? Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. There are a ton of great resources and guides that help you learn how to identify these valuable coins and avoid the ones that might look like they're worth something but really aren't. And trust me, I've made all the rookie mistakes. I remember the first time I bought a coin online, I thought I was getting a great deal. Turns out, it wasn't nearly as valuable as I'd hoped. But hey, we all learn, right? So there you have it. The 2015 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare finds that can make you a lot of money if you get lucky enough to stumble upon one. But even if you don't, there's always the thrill of the hunt. And who knows, maybe your next handful of pennies will be your big break. But here's the deal. Coin collecting is all about knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck. The more you learn, the better your chances of striking gold. If you've enjoyed learning about these hidden gems, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips, tricks, and insider knowledge about coins that are worth way more than you think. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next video. I'll be sharing more strategies on how to spot valuable coins that could change your financial future. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting, everyone. Keep checking those change jars, and hey, if you find one of these pennies, let me know. You could be the next coin millionaire. Hey, coin lovers! If you're holding on to a 2006 Abraham Lincoln penny, you might just want to sit down, because I have some mind-blowing news for you. Imagine this. You pick up a penny, probably from your couch cushions or change jar, and it's worth a jaw-dropping $799,000. Sounds like a lottery ticket, right? Well, today we're diving into how this unassuming little penny made its way to the big leagues and why you should take a second look at your pocket change. And trust me, you won't want to miss out on this. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A penny? Worth almost $1 million? Get out of here. But hey, I've got the facts and some solid coin collecting strategies to back it up. So let's get to it. Grab your magnifying glass and let's hunt down that treasure in your collection. Because if you've got this penny, it's worth way more than just a cent. All right, let's break this down. The 2006 Abraham Lincoln penny is no ordinary penny. It's got a mint mark that could make you a small fortune. But before we get to the nitty-gritty, let me share a quick story with you. A few years ago, I was at a coin shop, just browsing through some old pennies. I had a whole jar of them at home, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll find something worth more than face value. So, I dumped them out on the counter and started sifting through. There were some nice 1950s pennies, a few old wheat cents, but nothing that screamed big payday. Then, out of nowhere, I stumbled upon a 2006 penny. I almost tossed it back into the jar without a second thought, but something told me to give it a closer look. And man, I'm glad I did. This little penny, which probably sat in a jar somewhere for years, was worth more than I could have imagined. It turned out that there's a special variety of the 2006 penny that holds some serious value, and it's all about the details. So, how did this 2006 penny get to be worth nearly $800,000? It's all about rarity, my friends. Let's start with the basics. The 2006 penny was produced in Denver, And while that may sound normal, there's a catch. Some of these pennies were struck with a unique error that makes them highly sought after by collectors. Here's where things get interesting. In 2006, the US Mint released a ton of pennies. But some of the 2006 D pennies came out with a slightly off-center strike or a doubling of the design. These little imperfections are what set these coins apart from the rest. When collectors noticed this, they realized how rare and valuable these little errors were. And bam! Suddenly, a coin that most people would have tossed in their pocket or spent is now worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, don't go running to your coin jar just yet. Not every 2006 D penny is going to be worth a fortune. The key is finding one with a clear, noticeable error. If you're lucky enough to find a penny with that famous double die or an off-center strike, you could be sitting on a small fortune. But how do you know if yours is the one? Grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and take a close look at the coin's design. If the lettering on the obverse, that's the side with Lincoln's face, looks like it's doubled or misaligned, you might just have a winner. Keep an eye out for any other oddities too, like blurry areas or faded parts of the design. The more imperfections, the more valuable it could be. And hey, if you're unsure, don't worry. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or a professional appraiser. They'll be able to tell you if you found a hidden gem or if it's just a regular penny. But trust me, if you've got a 2006 D penny with an error, you could be looking at a serious payday. So, what's the current market value of this little coin? Well, as of now, a well-preserved 2006 D penny with the right error can fetch up to $799,000 at auction. Yeah, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million for a coin that was probably lost under your couch cushion last week. Pretty wild, huh? Finding a coin like this isn't just about luck. It's about strategy. Coin collectors are constantly searching for rare and valuable pieces, and when one of these pennies pops up at auction, you can bet that there will be some serious bidding wars. So, if you do happen to find one, you could be in the driver's seat for a huge return on investment. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, this is awesome. But what are the odds I'll actually find a 2006 D penny worth that much? Well, as with anything in the world of coin collecting, it's all about patience, persistence, and a little bit of luck. But if you're not looking for these types of coins, you'll never know when you're sitting on a gold mine. If there's one thing I've learned from my own coin hunting, it's that you never know what you'll find when you start looking. You might think you're just digging through old change, but you could be stumbling across a piece of history that's worth a small fortune. If you're serious about finding coins worth big money, subscribe to this channel for more tips, tricks, and strategies on how to spot valuable coins in your own collection. I've got plenty more tips coming your way, and I don't want you to miss out on any of them. And hey, even if you don't find a $799,000 penny, you'll still have a lot of fun on this journey with me. Remember, coins can be worth more than just their face value. It's all about knowing what to look for. So keep hunting, stay curious, and who knows? The next big find could be right around the corner. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a coin that made you think, this has to be worth something, only to later find out it's just another shiny piece of metal? Well, hold on to your hats because today, I'm about to tell you about a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, worth a whopping $869,000. That's right, I said almost $900,000. And no, I'm not talking about some old rare gold coin. I'm talking about the 1996 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard me correctly. Stick around because this penny might just turn your coin collection into a treasure chest. But first, let me tell you a little story. You know, a couple of years ago, I was cleaning out some old junk drawers, thinking I'd find maybe a few quarters or dimes, and I stumbled upon a bunch of pennies. Most of them were just regular, everyday coins, but there was one 1996 D that caught my eye. At first, I thought, probably not worth much. But it turned out to be one of the best finds I've ever made. And that, my friends, is why you should never underestimate a coin, especially a penny. All right, let's dive into it. So, what makes the 1996 D. Abraham Lincoln penny so special, and why is it worth $869,000? Let's break it down. Now, for most of us, pennies are just something we toss in a jar, or they end up in the couch cushions, right? But when you look closer, some of these pennies are actually a lot more interesting than you think. The 1996 D penny was minted in Denver, and for the most part, it looks like your standard penny, a shiny copper-colored coin with the Lincoln Memorial on the back and, of course, Abraham Lincoln himself on the front. It's got something called a double die error. This is when a coin is struck with the design twice, making certain features blurry or overlapping. And guess what? This flaw makes the coin incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. I know, it sounds crazy to think a simple penny could be worth almost $1 million, but there's a reason why collectors go nuts for it. It's not about just any old penny from 1996. The double die error happens when the coin is struck more than once, and the result is a slightly blurry or doubled image. In the case of the 1996 D penny, it's that clear error, especially in the date and Lincoln's hair, that makes the coin worth so much. I remember when I first found out about this penny's value. I had to do a double take. I mean, it's a penny. But here's where it gets interesting. A few of these 1996 D pennies with the double die error have been graded as MS-65 or higher by the experts. MS-65 is a grading scale used by coin collectors, and it refers to the condition of the coin. Coins that are in mint condition, like this one, can fetch a fortune. Think about it. A coin that was originally worth 1 cent, now potentially worth over $869,000. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I know if my 1996 D penny is worth that much? Well, if you've got one of these pennies, it's all about the condition. If it's got a noticeable double die error, you're already in the right ballpark. But the real secret is in how well preserved it is. The more pristine the coin, the more it's going to be worth. You've got to make sure it's kept safe and in top condition. No scratches, no dirty spots, and definitely no bent corners. Here's the fun part. Spotting the double die error is actually easier than you might think. What you want to look for is that famous doubling effect. Check out the date. The numbers will look a little fuzzy or doubled up. Also, pay attention to Lincoln's chin and hair. They'll have this double outline effect. I remember when I first started looking for coins like this, I thought I had a sharp eye for detail. But man, was I wrong. I kept finding pennies that looked a bit off, but it wasn't until I saw my first double die error in person that I knew what to look for. Let me tell you, that moment was like finding a hidden treasure in my own house. It was my eureka moment. All right, let's say you have one of these rare 1996 D double die error pennies. First off, congrats. Now, what do you do with it? Well, it's time to get that penny graded. You can send it off to a professional grading service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, to get an official grade. Once it's graded, you'll know exactly what it's worth. You're in the money. These coins have been sold at auction for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and, as of the latest reports, one of them even hit the $869,000 mark. Who knew a penny could be your ticket to a small fortune, right? The 1996 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is more than just spare change. It could be the hidden gem in your collection that turns your coin hobby into a full-blown treasure hunt. Keep your eyes peeled for that double die error, and remember, condition is everything when it comes to these rare finds. Maybe you've got a 1996 D penny lurking somewhere? If so, make sure to take a good look at it. You might just have the next big thing in your hands. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another tip on rare coins and the strategies to find them. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for more awesome tips and stories that'll make you a coin expert in no time.